Hi, I'm Eleanor from Refuge Design Workshop. In these videos, I invite you to see spaces through a designer's lens, to notice the details and choices that make a space not just beautiful, but truly livable. Today, we're taking a closer look at the very cleverly designed micro rooms at the Moxy Hotel in Chelsea in New York City. These are designed by Yabu Pushelberg. And these compact spaces prove that small does not mean sacrificing style or functionality. In fact, they demonstrate how constraints can lead to innovations. The first thing that catches my eye in the Moxy rooms, and I'll mention that I stayed in these hotels, in this particular hotel, twice, so you'll see a couple of my photos mixed in with these professionally taken photos, and I'm sure you'll be able to tell. The first thing that catches my eye in the Moxy rooms is this brilliant wall peg system, which is a little bit discreet in the photo, but look at the left-hand side of the image. Rather than closets, designer Yabu Pushelberg created a multifunctional wall peg system that serves many functions. Yes, your clothes hang there, but notice how also a chair and table that have folded completely flat are also hanging on these same pegs when not in use. This transforms furniture from being something that consumes space into objects that are more like art or decor and lift off the floor when you don't need them. So when something that takes up floor space can be lifted off the floor, you gain all this precious floor space, which you'll need for movement around the room, especially in a small room like this. What's cool though is how this system makes tidiness really easy. Everything has a designated spot on the wall, and the act of hanging items becomes part of the room's functional rhythm. So this approach can be easily adapted in a small bedroom at home. So imagine a teenager's room where a desk chair folds up and hangs on the wall, or a lap desk has some storage handles for when, the lap desk can be so nice for when you want to answer emails from a reclined position. This is something I enjoy doing. And then, quickly returned to the wall peg when work time is over. The built-in wooden bed is also a storage space. Underneath, which you can just sort of barely see in this image, there's a large cubby space, but there's also a drawer, which is not visible in the image. But you have a large drawer that you can put things like shoes, clothes, other items that you don't want to have on the wall. And then in the cubby space is a generous amount of room for suitcases or just one very large suitcase. So this is a kind of really brilliant hotel space design thinking that, really makes a difference. Having those suitcases tucked out of the way makes it easier to move around the room. And at home, this can translate into seasonal storage or anything that's not getting daily use. You could also consider putting underneath the bed. The bed's built-in design is actually also something to consider when you're in a small space and every inch counts. Attaching the wall or building it so that the wall becomes part of the bed's support system. Instead of having, four legs, you have two, and then you attach it to the wall, and the wall acts as the other part of the support. So by anchoring the bed to the wall, you create clean lines, you maximize every inch of floor space around it. The overall thing about creating those clean lines and maximizing floor space is everything you're doing, all the choices you're making reduces the visual clutter and makes the space feel larger. Perhaps the most ingenious space-saving move here in this hotel room, though, is the wash basin outside the bathroom proper. So you can see it in this image. At first glance, this might seem unconventional, but it's actually not that uncommon to see this in hotels around the world. That is the sink that's in the bedroom and separate from the bathroom proper. First, it allows multiple functions to happen simultaneously. So one person can brush their teeth while another person uses the shower or toilet. Second, by housing the shower and toilet in single partitioned volumes with translucent, not transparent glass, they've created what we call wet zones. So, and this wet zone, which is the shower, it's like a wet room. It's completely sealed off from the rest of the space, which prevents humidity from affecting the entire room while maintaining an open feel throughout by using this translucent material. And the stone wash basin, again, positioned outside of the wet zone, stays dry and becomes like a mini kitchen bath zone. So by selecting an attractive and high quality piece like this made out of stone, it adds luxury to the room as well as space for making coffee or tea, doing one's makeup, taking out one's contacts, whatever. This separation of wet and dry functions is something anyone can apply when renovating a small bathroom, even a tiny powder room. So consider, like, as you're considering your renovation, think about how different functions might be zoned to improve both efficiency and comfort. Finally, notice the material selections. These wax-dipped headboards are made of canvas, very affordable material, are visually very attractive, very striking, and they're also practical. Canvas is lightweight, won't be damaged if it's bumped, and the wax treatment makes it durable and easy to clean. The striped drapes, if I return to this earlier image, you can see it again. These add visual height to the windows while providing privacy. Stripes are a particularly effective pattern in a small space because they can really create the illusion of more generous proportions. And I'll also note that you can see in this image as well as in the previous, this image, a huge feature of this room is the floor to ceiling windows. So even in a small space, you're actually getting a sense of a vast horizon. The hotel itself is a very narrow building that goes very high. So many of the rooms in the hotel have just amazing views, which just adds all the more specialness to the experience there. The Moxy Hotel in Chelsea demonstrates that small spaces don't require compromise, they require creativity. From flexible wall peg systems to the zoned bathroom layout, every detail works harder to deliver both functionality and style. Thanks for joining me for this closer look at microspace mastery. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another space that proves great design knows no size limits. Until then, what small space solution from the Moxy resonated most with you? Share in the comments below, and if you enjoy these videos, subscribe to my channel. See you next time.